Guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lou. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lou will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lou. Here's Coach Lou.
All right. What's up, my friends? It is Monday morning, and it is Monday, May 16th, 2022, if you're on live with me. If you're listening to the podcast or one of the replay shows, it might be a different date for you. But, a lot of times, and I got to admit, I've asked it myself, WTF? There was a time I asked it a lot, WTF, and I get asked all the time, WTF, coach? What's the best fitness for me? What's the fitness? What's it all about? Everybody's selling you some magical pill, some magical 5-minute ab workout, and you try it, for a week, and it doesn't work, and you go, it's not for me. This whole fitness thing, I'm just not that kind of person. Have you ever looked in the mirror in the morning? I mean, full length mirror. I'm not talking just your face, making up your face. You're doing up your little spiky hair if you're a guy, or doing your makeup if you're a girl. Have you ever looked in the mirror and seen your whole body and said, something's got to change? I don't really love what I see. Or some people downright hate what they see. Some people like what they see. And then you look and you go, and I don't have the energy. You see it in your face. It's drawn out. It's tired. You just got up. You just got out of the shower, and you could crawl back into bed. Did you ever think that I'm ready to do something? And you're like, I got to do something about this. This has got to change. That image has got to change. That tired feeling's got to change. And then all of a sudden that overwhelming, well, I've tried everything and it failed. Never been that person. Always been a little overweight. Always been, I didn't like this part of my body, or always been dragging and tired. Hey, guess what? You're not alone. Guess who did that for years himself? Moi. Yeah, imagine that. Yes, there was a time when life was very different for me. Okay? I'm going to tell you a quick story. I grew up Western New York, grew up in an auction family, got the heck out of the family business as soon as I turned 18 and went off on my own. Was on my own earlier than that because it wasn't the environment I wanted to be in. I didn't realize why and how and all that. I just realized it was frustrating and aggravating at that point. I was a kid. So I'm going along, and I learned real quick that, okay, working on my own and got a business partner in that, I can have steak subs every day. Nobody's going to tell me what to eat. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. And the problem was I really didn't know what to do. I thought it was God sent that I could have the John and Mary's steak sub every day, and the wings from Lenova, and yum. And, and I'm going along, and over time I started to put on weight. I was in pretty good shape when I was younger. Wasn't perfect, but I was in good shape. Strong, young. And all of a sudden I find myself years later, after, up, down, success, not success. And I'm in a doctor's office. I'm 55 pounds heavier than I am today, with a cholesterol level through the roof, triglycerides through the roof, and I'm getting this death sermon as a pretty young man. And the sad part was, the moral of the story was, I started gaining the weight, and I was getting tired, and I'm flying here to do auctions, driving there, got this car business going on, just, hustling and buying real estate and making money and getting fat. But, I think in one of my real estate classes, this one guy had a real effect on me. He's like, I don't mind if I get a little belly because, it's kind of a sign of success, and, it doesn't matter as long as I'm successful. And, I thought this guy was pretty cool. We had talked about a lot of business ideas and stuff. And I was like, what? It's kind of, my family came from a heavy family. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not, gaining a little bit of belly in that. And then comes, people start to recognize you. You're doing good in business. You're having an impact in some way. And they're coming along and tapping me on the belly. Oh, Yeah, the man making the money, the man in love, the man this. It's always, it had something to do with positive reflection on the fatter I was getting. That was supposedly positive. But I would get off an auction block and I would hobble like an old man. Okay. And that's back when I was, a little over half my age that I am now. And I was tired all the time and never got enough sleep. And I was gaining weight and everything ached and I had a knee problem. Story. I mean, you might be going, that's me, coach, right now. That's great because now's the time to change. But honest to God, that was me, 55 pounds heavier than I am today, cholesterol through the roof, all kinds of I was not healthy and not happy and miserable, but I was successful and I had the belly to prove it. What a shit story that is, okay? Honestly, is that not a crap story right there to tell yourself, okay? So what happened? I sat there and long story short, I don't want to spend too much time on this story. The doctor was like, and I'm like, what are you, writing me a book? Oh yeah, you got to take Provocol and this, that, and blah, 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 blah. You're going to die in 10 years. And I'm like, well, hold off here. He's like, take these prescriptions. I'm like, listen, I'm going to this Tony Robbins event this weekend in Chicago. Now remember this was in 2004. And I'm going to fly up to Chicago and day 4 is on health and wellness. I'm like, I'm going to pick up some tips there. And if I can't lower my cholesterol by 10 to 20 points in 30 days when I get back, we'll talk about the meds. I'm like, I got to be able to do something here. So I get back. I follow to a T what I decided to do during that seminar. Not to a T exactly what Tony said, not to a T exactly what anybody else said 100%. But I took the good stuff of it and devised my own little plan, got a trainer. Okay, may or may not have been the best trainer in the world, but I got a trainer, got my butt moving. I got somebody to keep me accountable, get me in the gym. And of course, I negotiated myself 60 days before I went back to the doctor. By the time I go back to the doctor, I had lost 15, 20 pounds. I was really starting to feel pretty darn good. And my cholesterol went from 325 to 185, and my tris went from over 700 to under 100. Okay, 60 days. Now, I'm not selling you I'm going to tell you how to reduce that at that level. That was pretty damn miraculous for somebody who was told I'm a genetic situation. And that is partially true because my cholesterol still runs on the higher side. No matter how active and clean I am, it's still higher than it should be for what I do. But it's within, reasonable, safe limits now. But the case was this. And the doctor looked at me and go, oh my God, I've never seen Provocol and Tricor work so well. And I'm like, dude, I didn't take it. He's like, oh, you had to. I said, no, this is what I did. Oh, no, well, keep doing what you're doing, but why don't you take the meds anyway? Why? I'm within limits. I really made it. This was a miracle. I was expecting the doctor to celebrate with me. There was no celebration. There was, well, keep doing what you're doing, but you should suck down pills anyway. That was the outcome of it. And I'm like, oh my God, something's got to give. And that's where Revitalized Life Fitness and everything else was originally born, to help others crash through things that I didn't think I could get through. I didn't think that I could ever not have a knee problem. Amazing how my trainer got me doing some exercises to strengthen that up and taking out a lot of the inflammatory things out of your diet. And I no longer had a knee problem, probably because my ass wasn't so fat and I wasn't stomping so much extra weight on it too. And I don't care where you're at. You might be going, oh God, he's pretty harsh on that. Dude, check, whoever I'm talking to out there. I've walked in those shoes. I know what it's like to feel like, well, that's just my family genetics. That's just this. That's just it. And that is the biggest load of BS you're ever going to hear. And that's belief system. That's not the other word. It's belief system, okay? So I'm going to teach you 3 easy keys to fitness success right here, right now. No charge. You don't have to pay me. If you want to send me some money, help keep the show going, go for it. You want to send me a PayPal or something? I'd love you for it. This stuff costs money to do this, but this is not why I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing this is I want to teach, I want to make a change, especially right now. We're in such a dramatic time In next week's show, you're going to find out about stress and stuff like that and how to cope with it. We're in such times where we're being force-fed concepts of we're going to have food shortages. You're going to live on bread and water and rice, and you're going to be lucky to eat dirt. And whoa, if we let it get to that, God darn America instead of God bless America, because our people are too strong for that, number one. But number two, I'm going to give you 3 keys today to success with this that really turns the fitness side around. And it's simple. That's my whole key here, is to bring this to you. Take all these decades that I've compressed here in learning and experimenting and in search of what works, so that we can sift out all the cobwebs and dirt that are around the one thing or the 2 or 3 things that actually work. Okay? Every day you're bombarded with something. If you watch TV, or God forbid you look at the weather app now, and now it's a terrorist app that's, always, the world's going to die tomorrow, the food sources are going out, this is happening, don't do. What? You're your weather station. So here you are. You are here right now to learn 3 keys to fitness success. Last week we talked about dietary. If you didn't catch that, get on our blog at xlr8life.com and go sign up for a free blog. We do require you sign up for it so that we keep spam and stuff like that off of it, because we want it to be for our community. It doesn't cost you nothing. It's free, and it'll always be free. Where you can catch all the previous shows. So if you miss something, or there's another topic you want to look into, it's there. But here's the 3 keys. It's going to be simple. Number 1, you got to decide that today is the day you begin. Forget the past. I don't care if you're 30 pounds overweight or 300 pounds overweight. You can't do a darn thing about what you did up until this moment right here and now. So when you make that decision, and in its Latin root, decision means to cut off from, you cut off from any possibility but success. So forget about your screw-ups in the past. You might learn what didn't work. You might have some references to things that started to work and yet didn't follow through. But forget about all that past stuff. We're going forward here. Okay? Make that decision to take action now. Shoulds, your shoulds, I should go to the gym. I should go for a walk. I should drink more water. I should be more productive. I should be in a better mood. I should be happier. That's all a bunch of shoulding all over yourself. I should. That's a pile of should at the end of the day. Make it a must. Make it a must today that you're going to implement some kind of fitness. Now, this is where I get the biggest flack. And I see out there, Donna, yes, I understand you got a bum knee. Okay? I've got the chats going. And I understand that we have these challenges, okay? I've been there, done that. Some people have been in car accidents. Some people have lost their legs and they're going, I can't go out and run. I get you, okay? I'm not saying, well, figure it out. I'm not going to be cold and harsh, but I'm going to tell you to get moving, okay? Have you ever seen somebody who lost their legs or has lost the motion in their legs that is like a blob in that chair and they just sag everywhere? And then you see the guy or girl who's in a chair, and if you just saw them from the waist up, you would think that they are, the biggest athlete in the world. Well, they are, in spite of their condition. Okay? I've known people like that. You can still do stuff with your arms. You can still do crunch overs. You can still lift weights. I have seen some of the fittest people in a wheelchair, and I have seen some of the fattest and unfit people that have the use of their legs. Okay? So there's really no excuse not to do with what you've got. Now, I understand that things happen, and it's not always equal and fair and everything else. Genetics play a role. Injuries play a role. I get this stuff. But doing something, your body's still designed to move. Elder people, you shouldn't exercise. Your heart might be too weak. Well, if your heart doesn't get any exercise, you're going to continue to weaken. Doesn't mean you go run a marathon if you've got a heart condition. I'm not recommending that. And I'm not recommending you go against your doctor, but I am recommending that you continue to move at a level that is safe for your stage of life or condition. Okay, you can't stop moving. Now, the second big key here is find out what you like that'll give you the result. Okay, I love to run. When I was fat, I didn't love to run. And I don't, and you might be going, Coach, you're using harsh words and saying fat, and that could shame somebody. Bullshit. Okay? I'm talking about me. Me, 55 pounds overweight, was fat to me. When I decided I was fat, instead of going, I'm a little overweight or I'm doing good in business and softening it, it was the day I stepped up. If you're looking and you can't see your stuff or your feet below your belly right now, you got a challenge. I don't care. I'm not going to walk up and call you fat. You might have already lost 100 pounds, and compared to what you were, you're not fat. You're way ahead of the game. Or you might have gained 50 pounds over the COVID, and it's time you call it what it is. You got fat. There's nothing negative about that. There's nothing going to hurt your feelings, and maybe your feelings need to hurt once in a while to step up and make a change. That's the one thing I learned in coaching. I had a recent experience with that. Somebody was doing some coaching with me and not following through on a simple concept, that they committed to. And I don't talk specifics about any clients, you're confidential. But I sent a text that said, you had one simple thing to do, and it's not that difficult, and it's not happening. What the hell? Let's step up. And the good thing is that came from a kind place, because it's like, all right, the niceness and this is what we should do isn't working. Shouldn't. We got to make this a must. Well, long story short, the must started to happen because the caring showed through, and it was like, oh yeah, I can't, nothing's going to happen if I don't take the first step. Okay, so that was the decision. But what do you like? That's the thing. What type of exercise? Where do you like to exercise, and with or without? Not clothing, unless you're at home by yourself. So let's look at type. What type? I never used to be a runner when I was fat. And and again, please, if that word makes you uncomfortable, then there's probably a reason. It's not that I'm being shameful to you or shameful. I want you to move your ass and get going. We got to move. And that's coming from a caring place. If you got to call yourself fat rather than a little robust, do it. If you got to, come up with a name for yourself, if I'm going to be an Adonis or a beauty queen when you hit your goal, do whatever it takes. Use strong language. Weak, wimpy little language doesn't get you anywhere. I'd like to be in a little better shape. I'd like not to be in so much pain. How about I'd like to be pain-free and feel like $1 million and, frankly, turn heads? Does that feel different? Now, it might be overblown. It might be overexcitable. It might be harsher than you need. Whatever gets the job done. Instead of going into a culture of, let me worry about everything. Let's worry about the person that you're trying to help. Let's help your community. If it takes, giving somebody a little boot in the butt, just sharp word to get them moving, and it makes positive change for them, and they get going, isn't that better than pussyfooting around? Isn't it better than pussyfooting around with yourself? Call it like it is, then decide, what do I like? Okay, I didn't used to like running. That was the whole beginning of that rant. Then I started running. Well, actually, it was, it was about the time I started doing OCR races that I fell in love with running. You know why? Because I used to run around the block, okay, on the concrete, in the neighborhood. Barf. What fun is that? Cars going by, and you're big and chubby, and boom, 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 boom. Things are flopping around that shouldn't be flopping around, and I'm like, this sucks. I don't like running. Well, I got out and started doing the OCRs, and that was fun. What was the commonality there? Outdoors, different environment, clean, fresh air, a feeling of accomplishment. So I started running the trails, the mountain bike and running trails out here. And, actually I started when I was out west doing the mountain trails. And it was this freeing feeling, and I felt great, not only physically, but emotionally, being out in nature, in the air. And I was like, oh, I fell in love with it. So the type of it wasn't really what I liked originally, but I found the where and the with. I loved being outside, and then I loved being in nature. Now, running to me is kind of a solo thing, unless I'm doing OCR, and then I like it with the trainers, with the team. Let me see what other messages I got popping in here. Good morning, Don. So you can see here where that all matters. So type. Some people like to lift weights. I love to lift weights, but that's not the only thing I love to do. I love to do OCR races. I love to run. I love to get in the ocean and swim a little bit. Couldn't put me in a pool with all the chlorine and tell me to swim laps. I'd hate it. I don't like the wear. Some things I like to do with people. When we had bigger boot camp classes and we were doing classes, I love to teach boot camp class and interact and lead. But then when I lift, I'm not necessarily a type of person who wants to lift with somebody else. I kind of like to be in my own zone when I lift. Same thing with running, unless it's a race and I'm taking a group. But those are the things. Find out the type you like, the where, and the with. Some people love yoga. Why? Because it's good for flexibility at building light duty strength. They like to be in a peaceful environment, and they like to do it with friends or meet new people. Well, that's where yoga meets their triad. There are three things: the type, where, and with. Okay? So these are the type of things that make sense. You've got to figure that out. And take running for me. Type, well, now I like it. I love that all-out pushing. Where, I love to be in nature. With, myself, my music, and I. Okay? So OCR races. Type, I love competitive multi-use. Where, again, in the outdoors. You see where there's a pattern forming there I never knew I had. I like exercising outdoors. Never realized that. I thought you go in the gym. And with, I like to be with people that are like-minded, whether I'm taking a team or there's total strangers on the course you interact with and help, because it's a very interactive environment. So ask yourself those questions. What type do I like? Do you like more of a cardio fast, exciting thing? Do you like more of a strength training? And you need it all. But what is your go-to? Some people are like, I love to play softball. Okay, great. Why? The type. Well, it's a sport. Where? You're outdoors with a team. You answer those questions, and where else could you, if you're a softball player, implement that? Because softball's not the end-all, the be-all, like yoga, or nothing else is the end-all, the be-all. You need to vary it up. But how else could you do that? Well, type, okay, competitive. I could get into racing, like OCR racing, because it's outdoors, and I like that, and I like to be with people. Maybe somebody likes yoga at home in front of the TV. Well, the type, it's good flexibility, it's calming. Where, I like to be at home. So maybe you also put in a little home gym so you can do some of your strength training there. And with, you prefer to be private with yourself. Or you meditate, or you're feeling closer to God or your creator, however you term that. These are the things. Once you have that triad of what are the three, the type, the where, and the with, then you figure out that those are the exercises you like that you'll follow through with. Because again, you got to decide to do it, and you're deciding today. You got to figure out what you like that you can actually make sustainable. Then number 3, big revelation here. You got to schedule it and do it. Okay, you can't just say, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I think y'all, if you've watched me enough, you've at some point heard the story of Mr. Yada-Do. Mr. Yada-Do used to come in our business years ago, and he was a broken down old dude, cool, nice old man, drove an old broken U-Haul truck and used to haul stuff to an auction house that I had years and years ago. And he'd come in with his cane, and what you ought to do, what you ought to do, what you ought to do. And I'm like, and he knew Mr. Ought to Do, because he was so cool and such a genuine human being. But he had failed in business drastically and was struggling, hauling stuff from auction to auction in this broken down truck, trying to keep a roof over his head and keep food. And I give him credit. I don't say that disrespectfully, But you're not the man I want to take business advice from. You're the person I want to help and go, hey, how can I, work harder to help this poor old dude who I don't want to be you when I hit your age. See, he was teaching me something, but I was like, so I named him Mr. Yada-Do because he'd always tell you what you ought to do, but he wasn't doing it. Now's your time to do it. I can teach you what you ought to do. I teach you got to decide today. We're going to take action today, right? Decide right here and now. You're going to figure out what you like with the type, where, with, your triad of what you like. Simple. Now you got to schedule it. Now it gets real. Okay? So just do this the same way you would anything else important. And this is the problem. Our fitness always comes last. Well, after I pick up the kids, after I do this, after I work, there's no time for fitness. Let me ask you a question. If you pick the kids up from school at 3, if you got school-age kids, and you're supposed to be there at 3 to pick them up, and you get there at 3:05, do you think anybody's going to be really upset? Nah. They might get a couple eyeballs from the teacher or the car line person, and, 3 o'clock, okay. Loosen up a little bit. We used to have that when Lexi was little. We had car line, and they were very anal about it. But there wasn't a day that I didn't decide to pick Lexi up from school till the next day. Okay, the days happened and things went right and wrong in all other aspects, but my kid got picked up from school at 3 o'clock. Whether it was 3:05, whether I was there at 2:55, maybe 3:15 if there was bad traffic or, a problem like that. But I didn't just go, I'll get to her tomorrow. That's a DHS visit and losing your kids at some point if you keep leaving them overnight at school and forgetting your kids. Okay, so, but you're like, that's preposterous. I mean, why? I would not do that. That's because it's scheduled. You know that's the time you do it. So if your workout is scheduled for 2 p.m., be there, show up, and do it. And initially, it's going to be hard. You're going to be like, I'm taking more time out of my day. Okay, I get it. But you know what's funny? Once you schedule it, it's real. It's there. It happens. And you do it. And initially, you're going through the motions. You're pushing yourself. You're not going to feel like it some days. You're going to feel like it's taking away from something else. It's taking away from my spouse's time. It's taking away from my family time. Let me ask you something. What do you think is going to happen with your spouse in 5-10 years if you gain 30, 40 pounds and you get sloppy tired and every night you're like, I got a headache, I got to go to bed, or you're falling asleep in the recliner? What's your relationship going to be in 5 years? You might be in love right now and pushing through it, but if you don't have the energy for each other, what's your relationship going to be like? What about your business or your job or your career? If you're tired all the time and you're constantly making mistakes because you've gotten overweight, you're tired all the time, you have no energy, you can't focus, you're eating too much sugar, you're drinking too much coffee. What's going to be the outcome business-wise? What's your body going to do? How's your health going to be? How are you going to be for your grandkids someday? And you might be really young going, grandkids, I ain't even got kids. But those days will come. See, this is my point to it. Schedule it and do it and make this stuff happen. And we've already you found out what you like, so you make it enjoyable so it's not hell to get and stay fit. It's actually kind of fun or really fun. It becomes part of your life. And I want to remind you something, that each one, your health first, has to happen because all that other stuff, like we just said, is going to deteriorate. You're never going to be able to run on caffeine, sugar, and all that crap alone by itself. Okay? You're not going to be able to do it. At some point, you're going to run out of energy. At some point, the health issues, the inflammation is going to come get you. At some point, if you just sit all day and all night and you don't move, your body is going to deteriorate. And I know people go, well, I know people that did workouts and had to have shoulder surgery or knee surgery. I'm not recommending going to do CrossFit from the couch. CrossFit's for elite athletes. I'm not necessarily saying you got to go run an OCR as your first day out of exercising. A walk around the block may be your first day of exercise, my friends. I don't know exactly where you're at. But don't forget, when you talk, like we're doing today, it's an idea. Oh, sounds good, coach. When we decide what you're doing today, if you're going to actually make anything happen, it starts to become real. When you schedule it, is when it really happens. Okay? Talking about schedule. Let's talk about schedule, baby. All right, so you did it, right? You wrote it down. You start, and you're going to pick an exercise. You're going to pick something that you're going to start doing 1 to 3 times a week, and then you can grow it from there. Okay, I'm not asking you to jump into 5 days a week, heavy duty training right this second. Get those walks in. Get some light strength training in. If you need coaching, reach out to me. We'll get you hooked up, whether it's with me or somebody else in your area, remotely, whatever, to get you going on a deeper level. But the fact is today we're going to get you going. All right, here's the show schedule for the rest of the month. Okay, May 23rd, which is next week, we're going to touch on hydration and breathing. We're going to do quick segments on those because those we don't have to get in-depth into. If you want to get really in-depth into this stuff, there's my HEALS course, which is a 30-day video and interactive coaching course that you can take. That's on Accelerate Life. Go look at it. I don't want to take your time this morning to give you a commercial on it. If you're serious about making change, that's the place to do it. May 30th. May 23rd, then we're going to get into rest, sleep, and stress. That's going to be the biggest chunk of next week's show because those are ultra important. Coming from the guy that used to sleep 4 hours a night and tell you that was enough. Okay, again, you can push through that, but after a while, let me tell you something. It's no badge of courage to sit there and outdo each other on how little sleep you get and how stressed out you are. Basically, you're telling people, I'm killing myself faster than you are, and I'm in a competition to do that. That's silly, guys. You know, we all get it. We're all stressed out. We all could use a little bit more sleep. There's a lot going on. But handling that up front is going to make things infinitely better. So then we're going to go May 30th is going to be putting it all together and living it. And here's something I want to add and throw in here that I wasn't going to bring up, but it just popped into my head. Thank you. When you're adding this exercise time in, it might seem like you're taking more time out of your week. But when you're fitter, healthier, and overall with this whole HEALS process, when your body's operating better, you're going to gain time because you're not going to plop in front of the TV with a beer because you're so whipped from the whole 8 hours you had to work today. Okay. That's a third of your day. And people are like, you would think that, and a lot of people are working more than that. 12-hour days are not uncommon. But when you get your body operating right, you're going to gain hours. What if you gain an hour a day of productivity or an hour a day for yourself? 7 hours a week, 30 hours a month, 360 hours in a year. What could you do with that if you gained that by getting your body operating to where you have an extra hour that's super productive every day? And that's not that hard to do. That'll happen quickly and you'll be going, I feel like I'm getting so much more done. I'm getting up 1 hour earlier and it changes everything for my whole day. I'm less stressed. I'm getting more accomplished. I feel better. These are things that are going to happen when you do this. I know this for a fact. I've lived it. So all that good stuff, that just popped into my head. You're going to gain time by doing this. You're not going to lose time. All right, so off the time subject, because that's going to be a whole nother month-long series on time management coming up soon. Sunday, June 5th, we have the Intro to HEALS. It's a live interactive event to jumpstart you with me. It's 3 to 4 hours, probably 4 hours, maybe even plus, because I'll get to going on stuff. But that's where you get to ask the questions. You get to interact. We take a deep dive into all of these pieces that we've kind of touched on the show. Sunday, June 5th, get signed up for that. I'll put the links in the comments. It's going to be a Zoom-style meeting, so you'll be able to, we'll be in the room together, in other words. And, really get those questions answered, really get a little bit of guidance on, hey, I've started to do this. I'm not sure how to go to the next level. Boom, boom, boom. There's where we put it all together. So that'll be Sunday, June 5th. And I got to ask you a question this morning. Ask yourself this question. Would having a body that you feel great about change the way you show up in other areas of your life? Okay? And like I said, if you gained an hour a day from having a healthier, stronger body, 7 hours a week, 30 hours a month, 260 hours in a year, what would those possibilities give you? What could you master or learn or grow with or calm yourself with just 1 extra hour a day of energetic ability to not be just the blob on the couch going, oh my God, I'm falling asleep on the couch every night. What would that do for you? What would it do for your family? What does it do for your loved ones? What does it do for your love life? If you actually have that extra hour of the day to incorporate that, where right now you and your spouse are coming home and you're so tired and you ain't got no energy for nothing, and you wonder why you're resenting each other. And, once a week seems like it's great when it used to be once a day when you met or whatever the case was. See, these are the things that open up. The fitness is going to open up your possibilities all the way around, because your body is going to match what's in here and what's in here. None of us want to be heavy, lazy, tired, and all that all the time. We want to be the best we can be. Okay? Nobody wants to be worse than they can be or worse than they are. People want to be better. Now let's open those doors and just do it. Do it. Let's get it done. Okay, so I want to see you on the next shows. If you've missed any shows, go back, get on our blog at xlr8life.com, and make sure that you're caught up to date. Catch me the next 2 Mondays live, and then on Sunday the 5th, I want you on that event with me. That's going to be so exciting to just wrap this all up in one little package and go, here you go. And I'm not going to give you the package. I'm going to give you the framework, and you're going to fill in the blanks. You're going to fill it in with what you like to eat that's good for you. You're going to fill it in with what you like to move your body that's good for you. You're going to fill it in with, getting the proper hydration and some breathing exercises. Shit, you breathe anyway. So why not breathe in a way that energizes you and makes you feel better? We're going to talk about sleep. I know that's a big problem in almost 80% of the population. And we're going to talk about stress, which is about a big problem in about 100% of the population right now. And we're going to learn to bust through the stuff that holds you back, and we're going to push you forward into what's good for you and what you can enjoy being good for you. And then we're going to simplify it. There's a mountain of information, my friends, and there's a microdot in that mountain that actually is the one that holds the key to the whole secret. That can bring the whole mountain of BS down. All right, I'm going to leave you go for this morning. And go start your day. Go ahead and schedule it. Even if it's at lunch, you might be sitting, watching me at your desk at work. If you are, make sure your boss knows, so I don't get those calls going, look, jerk, you're taking up my employee's time. You tell your boss that I'm learning how to be a more productive employee and more energetic. Instead of sitting there going to McDonald's and sitting in a drive-thru today, go. Even if you go to 7-Eleven and get one of those stupid little carrot stick things, which still isn't the best thing, go eat something clean. Go for a walk around the building, go up and down the stairs a few times. If that's all you can do today to get started, do it today. Not, I'm going to create this elaborate plan and I'm going to sit at the computer and design this elaborate plan for 2 weeks. Start moving. And then it'll take form from there. And we keep learning. If you need coaching, reach out to me, guys. We can do one-on-one coaching. I'd be happy and love to do that with you. I love to help people. I've had some great, unbelievable, miraculous style changes in some of my clients lately that have just hit their goals, and things are just on a roll in the face of impending doom around the world, and they're still doing it. So I'm really excited about that, to know that I have a little piece in what they've done. They've done it. You do it. You're the one doing it. But I feel good to have a little bit of help, that I helped you along the way. That's what juices me up, to know that something I said or helped you with gets you to the level of that. I love the energy I have. And I work my ever-living butt off. We're short-staffed, we're this, we're that, the other. But I still feel great. And that's what counts at the end of the day. Guys, live with faith, energy, passion. Always, and I mean always, always, always live your dream. Don't let anybody take that from you. And we are going to have an amazing day. I will see you guys on the next roundabout.
Ready to take it to the next level? Tune in to xlr8life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lou himself. As Coach Lou always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dream.